Mic check, mic check. Are we on? Is this thing working? Straza, you here?
I can hear you.
All right, excellent. Welcome everyone. This is CRL Chart Request Live, the show where you provide the requests, we provide the charts. We've got quite a few requests already in the inbox and in the chat. If we bring up Steve's screen, I know he wants to start with his own request today, which is Bitcoin, obviously. So why are we going to start here, Steve?
You know, there's a saying that the market is designed to fool the majority of the people. Or I think
most of the time.
The market is designed to fool most of the people most of the time. Now, if you said to me, what does the environment look like when Bitcoin is breaking out to new highs? I wouldn't think that software would look like this, right? Or that I could draw a failed breakout in technology, right? At the moment Bitcoin's breaking out. But that's what keeps us coming back. That's what makes this fun, right? What do you do in these situations? You don't buy these ones, and you can still buy this one, right? So just follow the price of the asset that you're investing in or trading. In this case, Bitcoin looks great while tech stocks are under pressure. I would not have guessed that. But that's the market that we are in right now. Why do I think Bitcoin breaks out? The leaders are already going, Spencer. Here's Binance. See how similar this looks to Bitcoin? But it's resolving this range.
Close to me.
You know, we just had Brian on Twitter Spaces. Go listen to the recording. I thought that was a great Spaces. He wrote a book called Technical Analysis using multiple time frames. When you look at a chart of Bitcoin, let's just do this exercise. The shortest time frame, let's flip it to a 1 hour chart. I love the alignment of time frames here. So this is a 1 hour chart. I'm just going to completely clean this up. Let's go back to when this all-time high was made on, I believe it was May 20th. Yeah. So what do you have? On the hourly chart, we got a nice big range here. Okay. All right. Maybe that range resolves. We don't know. Now, let's zoom out. Let's look at the daily chart. Put this in context, right? You still see that coil here. This is a multi-week range. Oh, wow. Look at this. We also have a multi-month range, right? That comes in right at the same exact level. Let's just put this in a different color for now. Multi-month range. Okay. That's great. So we got a multi-week range, right? Within the context of a multi-month range, within the context of primary uptrend. Now let's zoom way out. Let's flip it to a weekly chart. Oh my goodness. We also have a multi-year range, right? We could draw like this. We would probably prefer to draw something like this with a nice arc to show the bias here. Point is, over the short term, over the intermediate term, and over the super long term, we have these ranges that could all resolve themselves at the same time with one bullish candle that looks like this for Bitcoin. I think that would make for a super powerful resolution, and you're probably going to get an explosive leg higher. So what is the thesis of being long Bitcoin right now? It's that soon it looks like the leaders in crypto, again, I'll go back to this chart of Binance, right? That's already resolving this range here. So that's the bet we're making. If you're bullish Bitcoin right now, you're betting that these ranges all resolve at the same time and that it kicks off a sweet leg higher for probably not just Bitcoin, but it would probably be the entire crypto space.
All right. Well, let's go to the request now. Speaking of struggling tech stocks, the first request I have on my list here is from Ivan, who's asking about Adobe, which for a time there was like one of the best stocks ever.
Yeah.
And that was now several years ago. It's been a minute for Adobe.
Software's
yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
Look, I want to like Adobe.
Me too.
I want to like Adobe. I think it's a great company. I think they figure it out. I find it hard to believe that they're not going to find a way to leverage, AI to create just incredible products and services, because that's what this company does. But for now, just looking at like from a primary trend perspective, you had the base. Go on the 200-day here. You have the base. This 200-day flattens out, starts rising. This is an uptrend, right? But what is it now? This sure looks like a top, don't it? So, unlike Bitcoin, the charts we showed before, these time frames are not aligning, right? Because we have primary trend reversing higher. Now we have the shorter term, really intermediate term top breaking lower. And now look at the 200-day cresting and rolling over, indicating that maybe the primary trend has shifted lower again. We can't own charts like this right now because there are way too many uptrends in place and stocks that we could buy and have the underlying trend at our backs with long positions. This is not one of them. So Adobe, back in the box, you really need to see this one recapture some big levels here before you want to get involved. I would draw it like this.
Yeah, you got that support right there.
Yep. See, and the market confirmed that this was support when it gapped through this level. Nice little breakaway gap in June of last year. And now look at where we are today, falling back below this big polarity zone. So
old support, new resistance.
That's right. So 450, if you're below 450, you can't touch it. And frankly, you really want to see this one back above like these pivot lows over here. You want to see this one trading back in the 500s before you feel good about it.
All right. Can't own Adobe, but could I interest you in a Lam Research perhaps? Looks a little better.
Yeah. I'll be interested in that. Listen, semis in general right now look far better than software as a group, right? So here's Lam Research. We like the ones that are above those prior cycle highs. How you know it's a leader? What do I mean? Here's your prior cycle highs. Sweet breakout earlier this year. Nice base. See this 200-day, steadily rising below price. Now, these patterns here tend not to be tops, right? In the context of such strong uptrends, what we tend to see from these patterns is some sort of failed top situation, which is why I'm drawing it in green, and a reversal higher. So you can draw it in a couple ways. I'm going to remove the top arc here and instead put a horizontal line. So if you want to be long Lam, I think that you could either be long against the pivot lows here, which come in at 855, right? Or on strength back above the pivot highs, which are about 1,000. That's it. You want to play this range for now. Weakness to the lower bounds or strength through the upper bounds. I like Lam Research a lot. Let's give a target for it. This is one we're definitely long. Oh, look at that. The fib lines up right at those pivot highs, reinforcing the importance of this $1,000 level, also a key psychological level. So ideally on this one, you're buying strength back through 1,000 with a target of about 1425. Great looking chart.
Couple more from the inbox. Maybe Tencent Music, which looks kind of the same idea there.
Mm-hmm. I think it looks better, no? So Tencent's been, sorry, can't get this cap back up my bottle. Tencent Music has been
it's been the outlier.
Maybe the best stock in China, like this whole bull cycle. So gotta love it for that reason. I mean, look, this base, we've just been talking about the stock for so long now. Look at that. Boom. Monster base. The reversal is so in. Do the retracements give us much? I don't think so. But look, we do have the 38 here. That's how you want to play it. Boom. 14. It's also at those pivot lows, right? So as long as this one doesn't start trending lower over the intermediate term or the short term, right, you can stay long. So I think you could use 14. You can zoom in here and get even more tactical. You can draw some lines like this, right? But you do have this little range to help you out in terms of finding a tactical entry here. So lower bounds about 13.75, right, where this gap happened on the last earnings report, right? You don't want to see that filled. And then the upper bounds, it's just the pivot highs, 15.50. But Tencent Music, just back to the well with this one. We definitely continue to like it long.
All right, this is a good question from Mark. I like this one. The trash panda in me went and did some biotech dumpster diving Twist, TWST, Twist Biosciences,
That's
had a
not
nice little breakout
no,
and a retest off of $40.
no,
I
Mark.
was thinking of adding above 45 and
Mhm.
seeing if it doesn't squeeze into the $55 or $60 range.
Yep. So it's a squeezy name. I think it is in the process of squeezing right now. I think I'm super long this one. Disclaimer. Love this name. Been long it. You're not dumpster diving because you're actually buying strength in this group. This is one of the best names. Look at you have the reversal. Look at the 200 day. Curling higher beneath price. You could draw this base, right? This doesn't really look like other biotechs. This is definitely a leader. We have this level here. I think we have another level that we could pay attention to right here to the upside. I think that could be your trade, right? You want to play it against 41. I know he said 45. I like 41-ish here, right? We're hooking higher. And I think you can be out with a nice little trade back to 58, okay? You have a ton of overhead supply, whole left-hand side of this chart, right? It's not like we're at, blue skies and new highs territory, something like Lamb Research or Tencent's close. So I think you do kind of want to have a target to get out eventually, and I think 58 is pretty good for that. But no, this one's good, and let me just explain why I'm saying that. Here's Twist versus Equal Weight Bios. Did I do that? Yeah. So look, the reversal is very much in from a relative trend perspective as well. Right? Love that leadership. So Twist, good name. Also Kathy Wood name. Shout out Kathy Wood. Haters
Yes. That's true. I haven't thought about the ARC B in a minute, or ARC G, excuse me. ARC G.
Yeah. Oh, you want to see what that looks like versus its peer group? So Spencer's calling out the Genomics ARC fund, which is what Twist is a large holding of. I mean,
Louise.
Look, does it get much better? This thing's making new all-time highs relative to genomic stocks, these DNA sequencing biotechs, right? So it's as good as it's going to get in that group. I also think this is probably the most exciting space or most exciting industry within biotechs, like forever. I don't see that changing ever. This is the future of healthcare. So Twist is one of your leaders in that space. I think that's awesome.
All right, last one, and we'll go to the chat. I promise. We always get takers out of left field from Wavy McFly. This one is TEF. We're looking at Spanish telecom, Telefónica.
Telefónica? Yeah.
Telefónica.
Yep, we know this one. There's always a utility from every country, and oftentimes they look pretty good.
Well, it's telecom, but same idea. What the hell?
Right. That's the old school in me. So Spencer, there was a time that apparently you don't remember when telecom stocks were utilities.
Nope, that's before my time.
AT&T, Verizon, their home was utilities back in the day.
I mean, they should be. Actually, they should be.
I agree. But... So look, small base, but a base nonetheless. I think you could do something like this, right? Kind of would want to see some sort of trend line break. See, the cool thing with trend lines is if I want to make myself feel better, I could just zoom in here and draw one that is breaking, right? So that's why trend lines suck. Zoom in. If we look at a daily, it's a gappy chart. These ADRs tend to be. So let's get rid of these candles. What I like about Wavy, he likes the boringest stocks.
This one, I don't know, man.
He brings me like utilities, stocks, and banks, and
Spanish utility, no less.
Utilities, Latin American banks. So something like this, I think you got this level here too. You can play against. So you're working your way up the right-hand side of this base, but the base is not complete. I don't think this base is really complete. So we take out these August 22 high. Well, not even August, Q2 2022 highs, which come in around 530-ish. You really want to see price above there before you have conviction that this is a valid reversal pattern. So I think there's still work to do here. I get a lot more interested in this one above 530.
All right, to the chat we go. Nils is asking for your take on PRCT, which is a just reading from him, a mid-cap intuitive surgical type of play.
It's like Precept or something. Procept, yeah. Beautiful. Biorobotics. What a sexy name these guys have.
Love it.
Yeah, wow, look at this. I mean, they're hitting all those keywords, right? There it is.
There was a it was like a healthcare robotics ETF. Shoot.
This is not an ETF though.
No, it's not. I'm thinking, or maybe I'm thinking of Robo, ROBL, maybe. Anyway,
Look, here's what you have here. Yeah, this is tough because I don't like this candle. But I think you don't want to wait till 75 to get involved. I think you could just do this. Right? And I think the VWAP will support it. So I'm dropping a VWAP from this blow off here. We're basically just about above it now. So I think this is such a strong stock. It's a great looking chart structure. I think you want to find a way to kind of jump this entry and not have to wait to 75. And I think you could just draw this little trend line here or use this VWAP recapture. It's pretty much happening now to get yourself involved. And then you'll have a secondary target up here at 112. But with strong stocks like this, it's more about just finding a logical level and a responsible way to get involved, right? This is a trend you want to be involved in. No?
yeah, I mean, yeah, the chart looks great. Goes from the bottom left to the upper right. So, at least in that time frame. Speaking of charts that look great, what about NVO? Our old friend.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not your old friend, but
I hate these stocks.
I know.
I don't like them. Not involved. I think when the air comes out of these things, holy shit, look out. I think there's no such thing as a wonder drug. And I think GLP-1s are a problem. So here you have, you're kind of stuck in the middle of the range. Just look at how vertical this thing's gone. This is not a small company.
Huge.
They're also not in AI. So this is 600 billion market cap. I just don't know how they justify these valuations in the future unless everyone is taking these drugs, which I don't see happening. So 140 to the upside, or like 118 to the downside. I think you could pretty much buy this pending breakout above these pivot highs here. If you zoom way in, you got this nice little base, right? You could draw something like this. You want to jump it using the closing highs. You get in around 136. This is really what you're trading. And then this is a short-term pattern. So you want to also have a short-term price target. So I think you buy this tiny little base, this little, 2-3 month base, and then you can extend it out, or you can just use the next fib. I think asking for 180 on this little consolidation pattern breakout is a lot, though. What I would rather do is just measure it out. So if you measure the base, let's call it 120 to, we'll use the intradays, 140, you tack 20 on, and then your price target comes in right around 160. That's how I would do that.
Let's move away from healthcare biotech. Question about BlackRock.
Yep.
Donovan. Much more boring, stable, steady.
Look, this is how you play BlackRock. I think it's perfectly actionable here. I think this is one of the, true long-term powerhouses in the financial sector. I think this is a stock that you do want to own for the long term. And we would draw it like this. I'm just flipping it to a weekly. I want to show the base. Really nice. Having a tough time leaving the station for now. But If you're looking for an entry, you're right there, right? This is where you want to enter this stock. This, I don't know, 765 to 780 range, right? And then you have this range that is formed right on top of the base. So that's how you'll get your confirmation. But I think if you want to start building a position, you could do it right here. I think there are other tricks that we could use, like just dropping a VWAP from the year-to-date highs. That can help you determine whether or not buyers are in control, right? Maybe you wait for this VWAP recapture. This is from the year-to-date high, the March high. We recapture that VWAP. That tells you that the bulls are back in control of the short-term trend. We already know that the primary trend is, in the process of reversing higher. So there are different ways to do this, but I like this setup a lot. And then you play it back to these old highs. If you're looking for a trade, or I think, this is one that you kind of tuck away, which would be good for, the IRA.
I like the show because oftentimes I get ideas from the requests. This is the first request for today that I actually like. I'm going to put on my list, but Shopify. I'd be very curious, Steve, to hear your thoughts on Shopify. Not that I like it right here, but I'd be very curious to see where you would like it.
I'm sitting on like a 3x in Shopify. Well, I guess it's more like a 2x now. But I bought this one, and speaking of the retirement account, I bought this one in the retirement account back when I was buying lots of things, when I was on here annoying people with this is a generational buying opportunity back in 2022. I got involved right here, and I've given some back recently. But this was it for me. I love this stock term. I love the Amazons of other places. I love that trade. So I'm always looking to get involved. I think Shopify figures it out here. You zoom out on this chart. This is why I was just dying to get involved on such weakness in a name like this. If you zoom out, it just looks better and better and better, right? So this is long-term leadership. It's been a rough couple of years, but I think this one's figuring it out. We could also draw it like this, Spencer, just to illustrate that the reversal's in place. It's just been messy coming off of the reversal, right? So we would draw this just like the rest of these primary trend reversals. And then it would become a question of, okay, where do we get involved? We have a really clean level right here. Let's flip it back to a daily. So you can see I already have the VWAPs on this chart trying to figure out when we get a new leg higher. So here are your levels. You got a shelf here, right? With this breakaway.
Could you draw a trend line off those lows?
What? Yeah, but it's broken. And trend lines stink.
All right.
I would rather draw them horizontally. So something like this. Right? Or even have this Q1 2023 high coming right in here. So here are some levels of interest, right? We got this gap here as well. And then I think you can also drop VWAPs from these year-to-date highs, which we love to do. Help you know once buyers are back in control over the shorter term. So for now, this is a hot mess. It's really terrible. I think the primary trend is trying to assert itself and remain higher, but it is, you see this 200-day flattening here, right? We don't love that. So Shopify, I want on strength, more or less back above this 67 level. That's really how I would play it, right?
All right. It's going on my list. Shopify in the high 60s. I like it.
But what that does too at that point, right, Spencer, if you zoom in, if we're moving back above this little shelf of price action around 67, 70, this VWAP is also coming down, right? And it's going to be resting right here on this level. So you will be recapturing that year-to-date VWAP likely at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Because as the price comes down, the VWAP drops with it. So
yeah, the VWAP will converge with this price.
Right. Cool. All right. We started the show talking about Bitcoin. Let's end the show with the only crypto request we got here. It's for Galaxy Digital, which has that crazy ticker, right? BRPHF.
Yep, I'm in it. I like it. I like Mike Novogratz. I like what he's about. I love that he's a TradFi guy because I think that they're smarter than these DeFi people. So he's running this company. This is Galaxy Digital, $3 billion crypto hedge fund. They're involved with these spot ETFs as well. They're also just trading and they're making money in a variety of different ways on crypto. Think of it as like literally a crypto hedge fund. I think for this one, so I got the VWAPs anchored and we're coming right beneath them. I think the more important one of these two VWAPs though is this one from the all-time highs, April 2021. We are right there. And if you're not already in it, and I think this base reversal, you could have gotten involved back here, right? We were talking about it last year. For now, you want to play this little consolidation. You want to get in once we take back these pivot highs. I think you want to draw right through this little blow off here. So, boom. Boom. That's it. Play that breakout. And you're going to get confirmation less than a point higher at about 1190 at this VWAP, which is also going to be the year-to-date highs, this little blow-off peak from April. So I think you could enter at 11.25, and then you get that confirmation at about 1185. And then we just keep climbing up the right-hand side of this base. I mean, for this one, just with most things in crypto these days, our target's going to be these old highs. So that's going to be a massive trade. You're going to go like 3x on this if it gets back to old all-time highs. So I love this.
I mean, that's a ways off.
It happens fast in crypto. Look
that's true. That is true.
We were talking about Coinbase in the 40s not long ago. I think my calls are like 255 strike today. I'm in. So
yeah, I always marvel at, especially with the the miners, Mara, Riot, how fast they move and how fast they give it back. But that's what happens. So
I think this one comes with an element of diversity that is more like Coinbase than it is like the Bitcoin miners or MicroStrategy or other vehicles. Does that make sense? They're making money on crypto. They're doing well in a crypto bull market. It's not just about Bitcoin. And I like that more and more as we move into later innings of this cycle.
That makes sense for how to think about it, but I don't know if that is actually true for the charts, right? But that makes sense as a framework for
yes. You want the ones that are going to benefit from trading activity in the altcoins too, not just higher prices for Bitcoin. I think we get to a point where Bitcoin kicked off this whole bull cycle for cryptos, as it usually does, just like gold does for commodities. And then Bitcoin probably takes a breather, right? And we get into one of these 2020, early 2021 situations where everybody's talking about the atom or the avalanche or whatever the cool crypto is today. And it becomes more of an altcoin bull than a Bitcoin bull, right? Then you're going to say, oh man, I wish I'm not owning these Bitcoin miners. I wish I'm not in MicroStrategy, which is linked and levered solely to the price of Bitcoin. I wish that I was, enjoying the gains of the whole space. I think a company like Galaxy Digital does that, and Coinbase definitely does that.
Save some powder for the altcoin season, because it'll come eventually.
Has returned.
All right. Steve, you've been on Spaces on YouTube for an hour straight, so we'll let you go. Guys, we'll be back Thursday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, CRL. You can email us your request if you want to get up on there. It's questions@stockmarketmedia.com. I do write those down, and we do cover those first before we get to the chat. So that's the email. It's up on the screen, and we'll see you Thursday.
Awesome. Thanks, Spencer. Bye, everybody.